Did you guys get the go ahead?
Now we
Yeah.
are there.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Wicked Spursy. Mike, Steve, and Dave, and our old friend Brian's back with us tonight. Brian,
yeah.
let's start with you, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing extremely well. How are you guys?
Ooh, he threw it back. Ball in our court now.
I know. Was I supposed to do a yes and?
Yes, and you tell us about your day. Tell us about your greatest challenges and your biggest triumphs. We want to know it all.
Greatest challenge is Mike's techno skills.
Oh, it's fucking bad today.
That is true.
It is bad.
That was our first mistake. Luckily in other organizations that I care about, like Tottenham Hotspur, I generally approve of the staffing decisions of late and the roles that people get assigned to play, unlike this podcast. So
coming in hot.
we need HR help pronto.
Yeah, right.
It's not just HR help.
I'm it's funny when Spurs go on a good run of form, it just makes everything else feel like, it's like the ultimate multiplier effect. When they do terribly, somehow it feels like everything else just doesn't quite have the shine to it. And then when they're doing really well, it just seems to make everything better. So not that I'm, addicted to the outcome of a particular sports team, but it has an effect upon my outlook on the world for sure. So,
all right.
I'm super happy to be back with you guys. It's been a minute.
Glad to have you. Yeah, it's been a little too long, but you're back. So here we go. Here we go. I threw in a little Fab Romano.
I guess you guys are like practically brothers, right?
He's Ray Romano's sassy brother. That's who that is. Hey, Mikey, aside from your fantastically brutal tech issues, how are you?
I'm doing well. I've had a good weekend. I mean, despite the bitter cold that we all experienced, the weekend was good. I'm missing my son's soccer game right now because unbeknownst to us, there was an actual game scheduled on the same day as training. So the poor kids got a fucking game after 2.5 hours of training on a school night, right? So yeah, they win this game and they secure second place in the league. So that'll be great going into the playoffs. But unfortunately, they get to play the older kids. The actual 12-year-old team who was undefeated in the league. For some reason, they're in our league. The U11 league or whatever. But so I'm not going to get to watch that tonight. But that's fine. I'm with you guys. I'll be getting updates as we go along here. And it's great to see Brian again. I think you got a nice fresh cut since the last time I saw you. So that's good.
Very possibly. Which, all of our live streamers will be able to see.
All two of them.
Bastards.
The illustrious Brian is back.
Here's the thing, though. I do have to apologize for my techno issues. I want to place blame on somebody, but I'll just place it on myself. Why not? I mean, what the hell? I refuse to buy a new computer because I'm a fucking miser, and I hoard all my money together and spend it on stupid shit instead of stuff that I actually need. So I buy jerseys and stuff, and I don't actually need them. I just want them. I do need a computer. So maybe someday we'll have that issue fixed.
Mike, speaking of jerseys, I was skiing this morning, as you and Steve know. Had the good fortune.
Oh, you bumped into a bunch
of
people from New Jersey, probably, huh?
No, yes, that's true. But no, I saw a guy who had the Clark Griswold Blackhawks sweater on that I pointed out to you. I thought, damn, that's a great idea. I need to wear mine.
Yeah.
Next time I'm out. Makes for high visibility on the mountain. But by the way, your beard is stellar tonight, man. Like it's
I don't
like
know
you
if
got
it's stellar.
Mask beard and wings going on with that.
Oh yeah,
bad
yeah.
boy.
It's got. Look at that. I can do that.
Yeah.
No, Mike's gonna be Mike's gonna be a dwarven extra on season 2 of Rings of Power. That's really where he's going on this.
Couldn't put it better. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be like some weird like giant / dwarf. A giant had mated with a dwarf. That's me.
So you're just a normal guy at that point.
No, I'm a 6 foot dwarf. Yes.
We got our pod title. I want to say, hey, Steve, Steve, how you did? No, a giant mated with a dwarf. I think it's something like that. How you doing, Steve?
Oh, Dave, I am so glad you asked me that question. I've got 2 anecdotes to share. before we
Perfect.
dive into the Spurs. First, I had a meeting today with one of the owners of my company. And, we were just shooting the shit at the beginning. He was talking about the weather over the weekend. And as Mike had mentioned, it was quite cold here, very cold here. To the tune, let's see, I think on Friday night, when I went to bed, the real feel was minus 30 degrees. Absolutely brutal temperatures. But this guy I'm talking to, owner of the company, he's like, yeah, it was pretty cold down here. We got into the single digits. And I'm sitting there like, oh, fuck you. Like, take your positive temperatures and shove it.
For real. We had the 60-degree swing at my house, Steve. The air temp was minus 20 on Saturday. And on Sunday, it was 40 degrees. It's like, damn, 60 degrees. And it's still just a wee bit chilly.
Yeah. I mean, today it was like 30 degrees. It felt like summer.
It did.
It was great.
What else you got? So that was anecdote number one. Let's hear
anecdote number two. And I'm sure you older gents can appreciate this. I was standing around in the kitchen the other day and managed to pinch my sciatic nerve. So I've been in excruciating pain for the last 3 days.
With all due respect to his story, I don't know who he's referring to in terms of the older gents, but
well, obviously not you, Brian.
We do.
Come on,
Brian.
you are youth incarnate.
We prefer more experienced.
Yeah,
experience.
I like seasoned. I prefer to be called
seasoned,
more seasoned.
wiser gents.
Seasoned. Yeah. So
noble. I'll go with noble.
Noble's
I don't know if you've ever pinched a sciatic nerve, but it is not fun. It is not fun. Somehow I am still in good spirits, but I think Brian's onto something with when Spurs win, everything else feels good. So despite the excruciating pain in my lower back, I feel good coming into this.
I'm glad to hear that. Very glad. And Steve, having dealt with a lot of back issues over time, I can tell you that's the worst, man. Back pain stinks. But in the pain category, yesterday, I think you guys will appreciate this. We have 2 front steps that walk up to a porch that's on the front of our house, but the pavement, if you will, before you get to the steps is just like a cobblestone brick type of thing, which looks really good when there's not snow on it. However, when there is snow on it and you're hastily trying to clear that off and you're clipping along and all of a sudden the shovel catches on a brick and then the shovel handle just jams into your stomach and almost knocks the wind out of you, that is not fun. And that was yesterday. It was brutal. I was doing that. My wife's like, what's wrong? It's like, I'm not even going to explain it to you.
That was your Clark Griswold moment.
That was my Clark Griswold moment. Yeah. Just didn't fall off
Except
the
you
ladder.
didn't like flip over the front of the fucking shovel,
I don't know, Margot. All right. Hey, let's get to the football, boys. Big weekend. Let's go. Let our special guest Brian start us out. Brian, what did you see this weekend? What did you like? What did you not like? How'd you feel?
Well, I mean, like in Steve's instance, who needs OxyContin when you've got Emerson Royale? I can't believe I'm saying
right,
but like,
right?
I mean,
man of the match.
Man, I mean, except for Harry Kane, I think for all variety of historical and club achievement reasons, he deserves man of the match. But outside of the goal that won the match for us, holy crap, Emerson Royale! I mean, I think one of the writers for The Athletic called it the most complete performance of the Conte era Spurs, and that seems exactly right to me.
Alistair gave him a 10 on his player ratings.
There you go.
Can I mention that the actual man of the match was actually Pedro Porro for
motivating Royale to play that way.
Fire meat ass.
Yeah, no, I mean,
we just paid 40 fucking $1 million for this dude to light a fire under Emerson's ass.
Hey, if it only leads to a run of form that increases Emerson's transfer value, not to be totally kind of Machiavellian about it, but like it's good for Emerson and it's good for us if that is what happens. But he was
good for business all around.
He was having a blast just shutting down everything that Jack Grealish knows how to do.
Tormenting Grealish. He absolutely tormented him.
It was almost like one of the things I love about Christian Romero is how much he revels in psychologically. Like, he is very intentional. He picks players sometimes, you can just tell, and he's like, I'm going to ruin his life tonight. And like Emerson Royale was doing the physical and the psychological, all like the little stuff that and the big stuff. And he was excellently predictive. He was athletic, both in terms of like speed and finesse and agility. He was fantastic. I mean, and Ramiro just was regular old Rolls Royce Ramiro. And I think he got jobbed a bit on his first yellow card, which led to the totally deserved second, yellow card turning into a red. But I'm sure we could talk about that later. But between the two of them, it was like, a lot of the chance creation down that whole side just died on the vine. Never made it to become an aged wine like those of us with a little salt and pepper. But yeah, I thought it really was a joy to watch. And I feel like what was really the most important thing that manifested during that game to me was you could feel the confidence in Spurs as a squad. Even when Kevin De Bruyne came on, it was significantly more of a challenge than anything that they had been presented with in up to that point. And that guy is still, we all have to say, he's like unbelievably legit and a literal game changer. I don't know why he didn't start, but even after that, I really felt like they were confident, like, we are shutting this game down. It's not going to be one of those horrible, like heartbreakers. I knew it was not going to be a heartbreaker. And that is a level of confidence that I have not truly had in this squad since like peak Pochettino, maybe, like something like that, where their ability to just freeze out games, play with confidence. The press worked beautifully and intelligently every time, which is what led to the goal, which was the game changer. And then the defense in midfield through the back line was unbelievably solid. Like, how could I not be happy?
Let me ask you something, Brian, because I'm curious what your take is on this. Pep Guardiola made some comment about, oh yeah, well, they just defended with 10 people behind the ball, whatever.
Steve, was that before or after he complained about the 4-hour drive to London?
Who can keep track? He's a whiner. But the interesting thing that I noticed about the way we defended is we didn't sit back and invite the pressure on. When they approached us, we were coming out to meet them. We were aggressively defending to a degree that I haven't seen in a long, long time. I mean, for me, it's refreshing to see the defenders like rush out to meet a player, to block him off, to force him wide, rather than just kind of pack the box and hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean, what's Italian for Gegenpress? Because that's I think that's what we saw. It was the apotheosis of the Gegenpress as manifested in Italian version Spurs. I am like, yeah, and I agree. And it started at the top. I don't think Pep is correct in saying, like, I thought that, Kulusevski, Kane, Sonny, they had more energy and they were better at harassing their corresponding players than Man City were, flat out. If that's a competition, like, who's gonna have a true 11-man offense, 11-man defense? Spurs were the more, I can't believe I'm saying this because we're talking about Manchester City, who are, it must be said, one of the great teams of the modern era, even now. And Spurs were the more complete team on offense and on defense. Every man defended. Every man was part of like a counterattack in some capacity. It looked organized. It looked intelligent. They looked like they were having fun. Like, holy Christ, this is like what it's supposed to be like.
Like last year. Like the end of last year.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you a question to kind of lead into your comments? Or I hope it leads into your comments.
Yeah, sure.
3 weeks ago, the sky was falling.
Yeah, it was.
Right? Like, what the hell? Like help me understand where we were versus what we saw yesterday.
I think it goes into a little bit of what Brian was saying too, is like with the press, we didn't see any kind of effective pressing on the ball. It was very disorganized. We were getting overrun in the midfield every single match. Even in those games that we were winning, those few games that we won or were at least competitive in, I guess you could say competitive with air quotes, but I think that we are getting overrun. I think that this match was different in that we were able to press and we weren't necessarily pressing through their box, but when they were on the outside edges of their box, that's when our press came in, and you saw four guys, four guys pressing, which kind of forced them to funnel the ball through the middle, which maybe they wanted to do, but once they did, that ball that got funneled through the middle, everybody was just swarming. So you saw Dyer coming up the fucking midfield sometimes. You saw Perisic able to defend. You saw, Emerson was,
there was that crazy play where Ramiro was part of the attacking four, and we're like, wait, hold on a second.
Yeah. Here? Exactly. And Harry Kane wouldn't pass him the ball, but Harry Kane was behind him. In fact, there was a lot of that kind of funneling them through the middle and having our defensive players take the risk of coming up and maybe, sometimes one-on-one defending, or, seeing Romero pop up through the middle or Dyer pop up through the middle. So on the Kane goal, that's what you saw. That exact thing happened. You had five guys that pressed up. They tried to bring the ball through the middle, and to a guy who, let's tell it the way it is, wore number fucking 82 and wasn't wearing number 17. It should have been Kevin De Bruyne there. It wasn't, and that was because Pep is a fucking egomaniac. And he's just one of those guys who thinks, oh well, it worked the last time, I'm gonna fucking do it again. It's either that or he's got some kind of beef with De Bruyne. I can't believe.
Well, I was thinking it's like the Princess Bride. When the two guys are sword fighting left-handed, he said, "Well, I know something you don't know, and that is that I am not left-handed." And they both shifted their subbing. De Bruyne was like everybody shifting to their dominant hand, like they were trying to like stop proving that you can win. But it didn't
work,
and it didn't.
I mean, De Bruyne put
it definitely got
one good ball in.
It was like I felt like De Bruyne had a palpable impact and pretty quickly upon walking out there, and that is to the extent that I have any cause for concern about the match. It's just like, again, bend not break, right? You're always going to be up against good players who have the opportunity to change games. Perfectly fine. I feel like the sporting guys will reward me and reward Spurs if I just say it honestly, that I think that like a guy like that is a game changer. We did a very good job still containing him and his effects, but you still have a guy like that who is he is a force unto himself. He really is.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
But, I think at the same time, bringing him, I don't know, was Pep overthinking it? Was he just a fucking, like I said, an egomaniac saying we don't need to play him? But you saw right after probably about the 50-minute mark, the cameras focused in on De Bruyne, and he did not look happy that he wasn't out there. Right.
Well, what it is, right?
There's some fucking reason why he wasn't out there. And
what is it, Steve?
It's the 4-hour luxury bus ride that it took them to get to London.
Yeah. And are these guys traveling on game day?
De Bruyne printed up the MapQuest directions and screwed it up, and so he was paying a price. Right?
De Bruyne has a thing for Belgian McDonald's and made them stop a few times or something.
Let's get some frites, right? Yeah, that's what he was doing.
I honestly think that De Bruyne, yeah, they got the Royale with cheese, didn't they?
Ooh, boom! There you go, Mikey.
I honestly think that by the time that De Bruyne came in, it was too late. Spurs were already in that mindset where they were playing well. They were winning the game. They were not just winning the game, they were dominating the game. They were dominating the pace of play, and they were dominating the attack. Obviously, they had a shitload of possession, but possession doesn't do anything when your possession isn't breaching the box at all, and they just weren't able to do that. And everybody knows that Pep doesn't allow his team to shoot from outside of the box. A couple of times it happened because there were wide open passes. Like I said, there was the one corner kick where De Bruyne, put it out to the top of the box and they had like miles and miles of space. And Rodri just, couldn't get enough power behind it to put it through. I honestly think that Spurs outplayed everybody and outthought everybody. And I think that Bentancur was again silky, confident, calm on the ball. Anytime there was any pressure on him, I think Højbjerg was at most points of the game fucking absolutely brilliant, which we've seen out of him. He defended well. If that dude was just a little bit faster, if he just took some of the cement out of his boots, like that dude's a dangerous player if he's fast, right? Because the way that he's been getting forward this year, I mean, the only problem I had all day, and I think was Decky's still trying to find that rhythm again that he had before he got injured, and a couple of spots he showed where like he could turn on a guy, like the way he turns on somebody, it makes you look stupid. He makes players look stupid. I can't help but think that like if Cancelo were out there, it might have been a different game.
With Decky, even when he's a little bit off, he's still contributing, and that's what I love about that guy. Is what was it last week? The commentator said like everything good that Spurs do has Decky involved in it in some way, shape, or form. Steve, we haven't heard from you yet. What are you thinking about, man?
I
just say yes and move on.
I loved it. I mean, it was a complete performance. I think we've touched upon everything that made it great. I mean, the only name I haven't heard that I think deserves some plaudits too is Højbjerg in the middle. That dude was immense, putting up some huge defensive stats, blocks, clearances, interceptions, plus his assist, beautiful reading of the game. It was almost like in the reverse fixture, we just picked up on that lazy ball and went for it. So kudos to Højbjerg, because he's another guy who he did the work. He was all over the place. He was marshaling guys. He was keeping everybody well organized. Fantastic performance. If I have any criticisms from the game at all, I have two. First, that we were not more clinical with the chances that we had, because we did have numerous opportunities to really put that game to bed, and we did not take them.
Mostly on breaks, right? Like on counter. Yeah.
I mean, glad we won. You just need to win by one. That's all it takes. But we could have been much more comfortable had we, put one of those chances away. And we came close a couple of times too. The second issue that I have, and I don't think this is going to surprise anybody, Hugo's distribution continues to be ass. I mean, and it's incredibly.
He had one nice throw out.
But it's incredibly frustrating when you've got a keeper like Ederson.
The rest were a little throw up. But,
yeah.
Ederson can long kick the ball like 2/3 of the pitch, right?
He's a center back, though. He's a center back that can use his hands. That's it.
Yeah, but not only can he kick it that far, he kicks it and puts it in a position where his teammates can contest it, right? Hugo takes those kicks and they're like just way the fuck out there. Nobody's nearby.
They're 50-50 pop-ups at best when Hugo kicks them, if they make it to midfield.
Best. Yeah.
Forward of midfield. Like that ball that he threw out over to Emerson went further than the midfield kick with fucking 15 seconds left that I almost fucking threw up on.
Yeah.
But there's
I was sitting there in Rerah going, oh no, and everybody's like looking at me.
No, but he had that one kick in extra time, like 90 minute or something, where he kicked it right to the other team, and it's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, dude.
Yeah.
Like put that like way out for a throw-in if you have to. But yeah, those are my only critiques. You guys are spot on. It was a complete performance, dominated, well-deserved victory.
And by the way, just on your converted chances, I texted Mike in the middle of the game about this, and just like, good Lord, how good is Ake? And how good is Kyle Walker still? I mean, you gotta say, like, if it weren't for those two guys, I really think you're right, Steve. I mean, I think they are individually responsible for breaking up what, 5, 6, like at a minimum, like probably more than that in terms of total breaks, but at least 5 or 6 that looked like they could be really dangerous. And Ake played not quite Emerson Royal level, but I can't believe we're using this.
How could you expect that?
I know,
right?
Like Emerson Royal just came like my yardstick of defensive civilization right here. I kind of can't believe it. But
Pedro Porro's gonna get Jet Spence now. You've
Pedro
been spenced.
No, after that game, we're gonna call him future MLS player Pedro Porro. No, but I mean, I just thought Ake was just. I mean, that's one of the only individual Man City players I texted you about, Mike, other than De Bruyne, I think. And I just thought he was. I just was like again. I hope the universe takes into account my honesty here by saying that guy's so good.
I've always liked him, and I read last week that like he's on the outs at City for some particular reason. Did either of you guys?
If he's on the outs after that performance, then I don't even know. Hey, then again, according to Financial Fair Play, Pep Guardiola might be literally out come tomorrow. So we might have played the last Guardiola Man City match ever. Who knows?
Nice. Arteta goes back to City, and then no, I'm sorry, not going to go there.
No, it's just like it goes back to like I said, like how well somebody like Ake can still play, that João Cancelo would have made a huge difference in this game, except that he got into an argument with Pep, and then Pep's like, get the fuck out of my club. Like, so stupid. The guy's one of the best defenders in the fucking world. Yeah. And guess where he goes? To one of the best teams in the fucking world.
But I mean, Mike, listen, you've got a sporting background, and anything I've seen or read about Cancelo said he can be a bit of a prick, and that he's not the most loved guy in the clubhouse. Sometimes I'm not defending Guardiola, but sometimes a manager's got to be like, dude, you're out. Like you can't have a pissing contest and let that guy win. You got to hold your ground, or else you lose the whole club. So I'm not defending him, but I get it. You're going to be an ass.
There's a bit of a Jamie Tart action there.
Bit of a Jamie Tart action, right?
I know, but this is real life. This isn't fucking Ted Lasso.
But Jamie Tart represents.
Did Phil Jackson sit fucking Dennis Rodman?
He signed him. He signed him to be Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he had other guys to balance that out.
That's my point, though. Is like, dude, Man City are the defending champions. They got rid of their best defender. It was fucking dumb. Whether you fix it, you're the manager. Fix it. We're not here to talk about those fucking assholes anyway. They're gonna be relegated, and they're gonna get the death sentence. And Erling Haaland's gonna be playing in the championship next year. Let's hope.
That'd be beautiful.
If they get the death sentence, my only thoughts would be that I would love it if the NCAA would poach whoever runs the Premier League so that the NCAA can give the death sentence to radical violations. But just throwing that out there.
Never happening. Not a chance.
UNC should not have a basketball program, but that's a separate question.
Hey, Steve.
I don't disagree.
Yes, Dave.
There's something on my mind, but I think I'd like to see what's on your mind and see if you have any questions you'd like to ask.
Me? Oh, yeah. I think we have the same thing on our mind.
Yeah.
It's a very important question. It's probably one of the most important that we'll ask all night. And that question is this. Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Oh, geez, I didn't know you were going to do that now. Geez. Hey,
Fantastic.
Steve, I love when you ask that. Dave, fuck off.
The only thing this podcast is missing is a little jingle for, hey, Mike, what you drinking?
That's a good point. Do you have any connections, Brian? I don't
like a 1930s radio.
No, jingle? And in fact, if you could edit me attempting to sing it out of the final version of this podcast,
that's the vibe. That's the vibe we need. It needs to be that kind of like that.
In fact,
1930s, White Christmas, Frank Sinatra kind of vibe, right? Like we need to kind of tease that out a little bit.
Dave's gonna take that little clip right there, and he's gonna take it out, and that's the jingle now.
Yeah. But
By
he's
the-
gonna
Brian-
put it over some
Brian-
drum and bass or something.
Hey, Mike, what you drinking? By the way, I do need to point out 1930s, White Christmas and Frank Sinatra. Neither of those three things are at all connected, but that was just
True.
the vibe that was in my mind. Just before I get fact checked, just want to put it out there.
You've already been fact checked. The Twitter trolls are coming for you, Dave.
They're on it. Yeah, absolutely. But Mike, back to you. The spotlight belongs on Mike where
I
he
doubt
likes
that's
it.
true.
So we're back to you, Mike.
Jesus fucking Christ, come on. All right. So today we're giving this brewery one more shot.
Oh no.
That's a terrible way to lead.
Yeah, I know, but I saw this beer and I was like, this is kind of a
Like, does the can look cute?
Yeah, it's a cool can. It's a double IPA.
Shocker.
We're going back to the double IPA. What do you mean shot?
Dipper.
Shocker.
We did a sour last week.
We did.
So
True.
a Torontonian a sour. This is 4 quarters. Giving them another shot. I went there this weekend, had a nice glass of little umbrellas, which I really love.
That's right there in Winooski, right? By the square roundabout.
Yes, the square roundabout.
You know what I'm talking about, right? See?
Yeah.
It used to be down.
It's
it
a
used to be down the road.
rectangle, Dave.
No, it's a square roundabout.
It's a circular rectangle.
Is that just an oval?
That is an oval. So went there when Spurs win and we're in town for a meetup. Lucas and I always go to 4 quarters. He gets his Shirley Temple. They have a nice seltzer there that they make, Shirley Temple with real cherry juice for him, and he loves it. You got to get the right person to make it though. But I saw this beer in the cooler and I said, what's this all about? Well, it's kind of a newer beer of theirs. It's called Love Buzz. It's probably brewed for the upcoming Hallmark holiday. 4th of July or 4th of July, say Valentine's Day.
Close enough.
Yeah. Either one.
6 of wine.
It's called Love Buzz. There it is. That's kind of a cool can, right? It catches your eye.
Yeah,
All right, I can see
interesting.
Yeah, it's a double IPA. It's brewed with blood orange and honey.
Looks like a Pat Benatar video. You're gonna go with Pat Benatar on the song, aren't you?
You better go with Pat Benatar.
Called it.
Jesus Christ! Don't try and put suggestions in my head.
He's rattled, Brian. You see that? He's totally rattled by this.
Should I do like The Cure? Should I do like The Cure, like Love Song or something like that?
It reminds me of the album cover for, remember The Darkness?
Yes.
Those guys, take your hands off my woman, motherfucker. That's what that beer can looks like, as if those guys have been watching that video.
The thing is, though, like
staring at that album cover since it came out.
You know what else? Show me that can again. Show me the writing. It reminds me of the Skid Row album from way back in the day.
Yeah,
First CD I ever bought right there. Skid
First
Row.
CD you ever, that is a deep cut there, Dave.
Darn right.
So
good old Sebastian Bach.
Something that you guys may not know. Are you guys fans of the Darkness? Justin Hawkins is a phenomenal guitar player, but he's also a great podcaster. And a great singer. I've never heard anybody who can hit that high note like him.
No, honestly, Mike, 2/3 of the groups you talk about, I've never freaking heard of.
You've never heard of the Darkness? I believe in a thing called love.
If I heard the song, I might
opening
recognize
riffs
it.
ever. Oh yeah. I'm not singing it, fucker.
I didn't spend multiple
Try and get me
years
to
of
hit
my
that high
life
note.
immersed in music. Yeah, what's it sound like, Mike? Let's hear it.
No, I'm not doing it.
Maybe after the beer.
Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
And I'm not going to use it for this either. I believe in a thing called love. But the B side of that is take your hands off my woman, motherfucker.
One of my favorite song titles of all time.
Ooh, that's a orange juicy looking one there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, huh?
Look at that. Holy cow.
It's thick. Well, they make thick beers and they're not always good. So
looks like a 1-finger biscuit.
That's definitely a biscuit head. Yeah, it's about a finger. Depends on how fat your finger is.
This is true. Well, if you're a giant that made it with a dwarf's offspring, it would be a 1-finger.
That's very true.
I feel like it's like mead mixed with grappa or something is what that person would drink. But
Yeah, valid.
All right, all right.
That's got honey in it. I can taste it.
That color is interesting.
That is a really fucking good beer. Wow, it's good. Love Buzz, huh? Double India Pale Ale with blood orange and Vermont honey, 8% alcohol. Comes in a 1 pint. It doesn't say much more about it. I didn't even look it up to check to see what it's all about or whatever ratings everybody else gave it. I think Four Quarters is one of those breweries that everybody always gives like huge plaudits to, and I'm never really impressed with any of their beers except for the little umbrellas, which I actually do love. This beer is really good. Like really good. I don't know if I could drink too many of them. They are, high test.
Yeah, looks filling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you probably want to take a Beano before to be able to get the whole damn thing down. But Love Buzz, yeah. I'm going to give this a 3.8.
Ooh.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
ratings are climbing, Steve. Are you seeing? I see a real trend going here.
Yeah. Not
Nice.
that I'm upset considering I was close.
Yeah, you were 3.6, I was 3.4, so we were in the ballpark, Mike. But we got to recalibrate and dial you in a little more. How about the song? What's it going to be?
311, Do You Right.
Why is that?
Because I just feel like this beer is like it's gonna do me right. Just this one beer right here is gonna do me right. And I love 311. They're a band that often gets forgotten. But I just this beer is fantastic, and I love the beer, and I love Buzz. There you go. I have a Love Buzz.
There it
He
is.
believes in a thing called Love Buzz.
Can't end on
I
anything
believe
better
in a
than
thing
that.
called love. Yeah.
Oh, here it comes.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we
you
go.
Mike,
I was like,
you love bands with numbers in them, right? Like Matchbox 20, Blink 182. That's your jam, isn't it?
Avenged Sevenfold.
Avenged
There we go.
Ooh, yeah. That's a number word.
Boy.
How do you feel about you too?
I'll tell you what, I listened to a Smartless podcast with Bono today, actually. I have never heard Bono just kind of talk about stuff. Fascinating dude.
Yeah.
Just a good listen. So I'm going to throw that out there, and the guys on Smartless, we are happy to partner with you in any way that you would like us to.
Yes.
Will,
Our
I think
Smartless,
Will's a fan of the Premier League, although I think he's a Liverpool guy, but we'd let you come on the pod if you wanted to.
Nobody's
So
perfect.
Brian, I'm not allowed to talk about my feelings for you two because the fuckwits will get all over my case on
This
it.
is
So
totally right.
You have feelings? Let's hear it.
I'm not allowed to talk about it.
He's not allowed to have feelings. That doesn't sound healthy.
I don't feel the same way about you two that I do about Billy Joel. So do with that what you will.
You hate Billy Joel, right?
He does hate Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Like early Billy Joel with like the
all
curly
Billy
mullet,
Joel.
or more modern Billy Joel?
The person, Billy Joel.
Billy Joel the person.
Wow. That's
And-
that's a real one. That's a real
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, and by extension, his fucking shitty, contrived, fucking bullshit music.
Judgy Mike.
Although I do
Yes.
like Sunday Bloody Sunday on the YouTube front though. I like that
Okay.
song. I like that one song. So
Mike has to be a rebel, right? The protest guy, fight guy. That's who you are.
no, I just like the song. I mean, Joshua Tree's a fine album, whatever. But the rest of their fucking 800 albums that nobody ever.
What
bought
about Achtung
or
Baby?
had forced upon them.
Achtung was a great
enjoy any of
album.
them.
Yeah.
No, we're done. All right.
We're done. We'll move on. Hey, that's been hey Mike, what you drinking?
How much? What was the rating?
Hey
this
Mike,
time?
what you drinking?
3.8.
Yeah, 3.8 was what you went with.
I know, but Dave got it wrong last week when we had a Major League Baseball player on.
Yeah, I was 3.4.
You
Steve was
embarrassed
3.6.
yourself in front of the
Yeah.
Major League Baseball player.
That was a good
Who plays
pod
for your
last week,
team?
by
He
the way.
has a name, Mike.
He does have a name.
Jake
Call
Berger.
Jake
Yeah,
by his name.
Jake.
you go.
I'll say Jake again. I mean, great guy, good podcast, and yeah.
Yeah. Good get
We're-
there, guys.
Yeah, right. I mean, that was all Dave's doing.
You know, the recruitment department was just out handling business, and
Oh, man.
this is where we are. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm on trying to get the Red Sox third baseman, but his $300 million contract probably isn't gonna help us in getting him.
Yeah, when you get to the whole like, no, we can't offer you any money, it kind of is a showstopper, right? Like that's just how it is.
I just hope that next week's guest is just literally Bono. Just to go up Mike's ass sideways.
How fantastic would that be? I've reached out to Jason Sudeikis and Ted Lasso to see if they would come on, and neither one of them has responded to me. I can't really get over the pain that goes along with that.
Listen, I just heard Flav talking about trying to get Steve Nash on.
Oh yeah,
which I've also done, and if they're not getting him on,
Steve Nash he'd be a good get. Yeah, for sure. What about Adele? We could go for Adele. Maybe have any connections
Tom
to
Holland.
Adele?
Come on, let's get Spider-Man up in here.
dude,
Steve,
you can't go to
Steve. You're on Tom Holland. Can you work on that one?
I'll see what I can do.
You can't go to an Adele concert. You can't afford the tickets. We're not going to afford her on the show.
We could send her a T-shirt though.
That's true. We could. I have a couple left over.
Hey, that's been Hey Mike, what you drinking? 4 quarters, love buzz, and Mike loved it, and he's still enjoying it. So thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, let's look ahead, gentlemen. To the best of my research abilities, Leicester City next weekend. What do we think, Steve? Why don't you get started on that?
Well, I'll tell you what I think about Leicester City by talking about Harry Kane.
Okay.
Excuse me. Hold on. Breaking news. Lucas has 2 goals. It's 2-2.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
There you go.
Tell him until he gets 3 goals, there's nothing to be excited about. Can you pass that on?
At trickery walks home.
Yeah.
He sleeps in the bottom bunk.
Brace rhymes with smack you in the face. So just we want a Hattie tonight. Let's get it, Mike.
Yes, we will have a Hattie. Hopefully, it's 2-2.
Inquiring minds want to know, like, how much time is left? That's an important question.
It is 7:19. Game started at 7, so they're still in the first half.
Oh,
So should we talk about how he should have like been at home, had a nice healthy dinner, gotten started on his homework, and be preparing for bed in about an hour? Have we had that conversation yet?
He ate some apples and peanut butter before he left. He said he's good to go. So he had training, and then now he's got 2 goals in the first half.
Apples and peanut butter. That's the secret.
as they say, youth is wasted on the young, right?
I guess we see where school fits into this whole equation, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's for sure. I mean, he'll get another pack of cards when he reads another couple chapters of his book tonight. So
Another pack of what kind of cards?
he does Premier League cards.
There you go.
Yeah,
Do they come with bad bubble gum like baseball?
No,
cards
they
when
don't
you're
do
kids?
that anymore. The
No?
cards are.
I don't know why.
Remember when we were kids? They were like 50 cents for a pack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're like fucking $3 a pack now.
Now it comes with 1 apple slice and 1 little thing of peanut butter.
If you're lucky.
I used to ride my bike to the corner store to pick up gallons of milk that would cost $1.08, and my mom would give me $2, and I would use the remaining 92 cents, and I would get a pack of baseball cards. Then I'd go across the street to this place that had hot dogs for like some stupid, ridiculous price, get a hot dog, and then ride my bike home. It was little kid heaven back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Started out with $2.
That's right.
That's awesome.
There you go.
All right,
go ahead. Back to
the football.
Leicester.
Leicester City, Steve, Harry Kane. What do you think?
Harry Kane. So I can't believe we've made it this far and we haven't talked about his achievement. 200 Premier League goals, 267, making him the all-time Spurs top scorer. But how this pertains to Leicester has to do with his goal tally. Of his 200 Premier League goals, just guess which team he has scored against the most.
Leicester.
It is Leicester.
Where he also went on loan, right? He was
His
on loan for
former
a
loan
stretch
club.
there.
Yeah.
Do you know how many goals he has scored against Leicester in his career?
Out of 267?
Out of 200 Premier League goals.
Out of 200 Premier League goals. And he's been in the league 9 years. Is that correct?
Sure.
Stop trying to do math and just guess.
No, I'm just trying to think. I'm going to say 35.
35. No, 18.
Okay. Stop trying to do math.
18
Just guess.
Premier League goals.
You told me to
I
stop
mean,
doing math, Mike.
That's what, like 10% almost of his total
Well, he's got
primary
like
goals have come against one
That's like
team.
Mike at the negotiation table, what I just did right there, right? There's the reality, and then there's Mike like, yeah, going double.
Pounding my fist on the table.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good about
I'm taking my shoe off on Wednesday. I just want you to know. I'm going like Khrushchev.
Throw a shoe.
Look, Leicester is not good. They are not good this season. They did get a win this past weekend, but I don't feel threatened by them at all. I have a feeling we'll be in. It is away from home. I don't know that necessarily matters. I think Harry Kane will boss them and we'll be able to get away with a couple goals. Now that I've said that, I guarantee we're going to lose the game because I can't have nice things. It's just not allowed. No, but I feel. I mean, with what we saw against Man City, with what we saw against Fulham, and the victory against Preston, I guess. We've got a couple of decent results. Fulham and City are way tougher teams than Leicester is this season. I'm feeling good going into it. As long as the squad maintains that high level of performance, we should be fine. And honestly, even if Emerson decides that he used up all his sporting ability in that one game, we got Pedro Porro there to replace him. If Son decides he wants to go back to being ineffective, fine, yank him out, get Danjuma in there, get Richarlison in there. We've got options now. People are healthy again. We've got a little bit of depth that we can rely on the bench. Honestly, even Romero's absence through suspension doesn't really bother me. Just throw Sanchez out there. He's like the same sort of. There's an error in there. There's a mistake in there, but on that one side where he's a little bit further removed and has a little bit more help, I'm just not as concerned. I think we've got a solid win ahead of us and can start looking forward to Milan in the Champions League on Valentine's Day.
Hey, was it a year ago that was
or the 4th of July, as I would say?
Nice. Was it a year ago that was the Leicester game where Bergwijn came back and what did he have? 2 late goals, right. And then
the Flying Dutchman game.
Yeah, Lucas and Lo Celso were like jumping on the security guards. Was that just a year ago, ballpark?
That was just about a year ago.
That's crazy. That feels like a different era, doesn't it? It just feels like a different time.
Also, fun fact about Leicester City while I'm thinking about them.
We need more fun facts about Leicester City.
They're called the Foxes.
No, they've got
they play at King Power Stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
Vote Faze, their defender. He is Liverpool's top scorer since the World Cup break.
What? Say that again.
Leicester City's defender, Vote Faze, is Liverpool's top goal scorer since their return from the World Cup.
Holy shit.
His 2 own goals are more than anybody else on Liverpool.
That's insane because Mo Salah was. I mean, oh wow, that's wild.
Yeah, so that tells you a little bit about Liverpool right now, and I just couldn't resist getting a cheap shot against them because
I think Jurgen needs to have his weird clear glasses back.
I like the clear glasses. I'm fine.
I don't think the LASIK surgery did well for him.
That's what it is. He's not seeing well, right? Mike, did you ask the question if Conte left for some reason and Jurgen was available, would we take him?
That was me. That yeah.
What's your answer?
My answer?
Yeah.
I would 100% take Jurgen.
I'm in agreement.
I do think the guy's a world-class coach. He's a giant fucking whiner. I think he was a little bit spoiled by the Fenway Sports Group when they came in and got him the players that he wanted like immediately. He had a lot of young talent at the time, but that young talent is getting old, and true to form, Fenway Sports Group likes to win championships and then dismantle teams and or not buy players for subsequent seasons, and just lets players either get old or walk. That's what happens with directors of football. It happened. I mean, it happened in with their race teams. I mean, it's just happens. They accumulate. They get really their club's really popular, right? They accumulate the fan base, and they grab all the money they can, and then once the team starts to fail, the next year they'll put a shitload of money into the team so that they. I mean, it's a good business strategy, right? But we know that soccer is a business, baseball is a business, the race game is a business. And Fenway Sports Group plays it that way. Um, they they really tug on your heartstrings. But I think that Jurgen Klopp is still a world class coach. And I don't know that Conte is going anywhere now. He's coming back Wednesday. I don't know if you guys saw that, like that cool little locker room chat he had with Harry Kane.
Yeah.
They played that on NBC, right? That was really cool. So he's coming back. Conte's coming back Wednesday. So any hopes that you guys have of another Stellini, a Stellini miracle?
Masterclass.
Yeah, I don't. I was just saying to our friend Jason at the pub the other day, like, why has Stellini not been, snatched up by some club? And he's been with Conte for how long, right?
It's a great point, but there is something else that I want to make sure we touch on in our limited time. You were talking about, Liverpool's ownership group. Obviously, we've got the shit show going on with Manchester City right now. With all that in mind, how do we feel about ENIC? How do we feel about the Supporters Trust's little spat with Daniel Levy?
I can't stand him. Not ENIC, the Supporters Trust. I said it out loud. Brian, what do you think? How do you view all that nonsense?
I think that it would do lifelong Spurs fans to remember. I read several really long articles about just how bad things were before ENIC bought Spurs. I think from an overall business management perspective, the club is almost like unrecognizable from its pre-ENIC era, and they do well to. I mean, look at Everton, right? A club we all would say is like a bigger club, right? Certainly one of the more notable ones with a long history. Look what greedy mismanagement can do for you at an otherwise noble club, just as much as, an infusion of petro capital and hiring the best people in the world can clearly win you championships in Paris and in whatever side of Manchester City's on. The same thing can be true for going the other direction, right? Newcastle, before they sold out to petro capital, bad management cratered an otherwise noble club with a great history. So I think we should be careful what we wish for. This Levy out crap that seems to come up every other year, I think, is overrated, and it's a little too shoot from the hip without people realizing how good a job they've done in the long run.
For sure.
So
it's too easy. It's too easy. And I want to clarify. I said I can't stand them. Here's my why. Like, I realize things are different over there. I realize as an American fan who grew up in an American sports environment, I understand that my lens is different than if I grew up in a community in England and the local club was what I felt was part family and part identity and part culture. I get that. What I don't understand is why this one organization believes that they are the voice of the fans and that they have some form of entitlement to information and feedback from the club. They don't own the club. They don't own the club at all. They don't own one bit of it. And from what I look at from the outside, it seems that their focus tends to center around the needs and wants of the match-going fan and the local fan. I've participated in their surveys before. I've actually sat in on some of their Zoom meetings that they've had before just to get a sense on what that's all about and how it works. And I don't see any commitment to global fandom, and maybe they don't owe me that. And in the same way that the club doesn't owe them anything, maybe they don't owe me anything.
I was going to say in the same way that, you know, Spurs and global Spurs potentially don't owe them like a board seat, which is what they've been clamoring
for sure. Like just you're going to support the club, and guess what? If you don't like the ownership, going to have to wait it out till there's new ownership. But guess what? They're not going to sell because you don't like them. It's just not how it works.
What I think is important is, it's I don't know if you guys know, this is a deep cut Star Wars reference, but Saw Gerrera, right, the guy from Rogue One. So like, I feel like sometimes in these kinds of structural conflicts, you need people on the more radical fringe to keep the center and the rest of the spectrum honest. Right. And I do think that sometimes having an like, I mean, look at the rest of the supporters groups. Like, do you think that Chelsea or Manchester City are listening to their supporters trust? Do you think they honestly care? Like like sometimes they don't even put out like, you know, some apology letter after something bad happens at the club because they don't care. They're not here for the supporters. They're here for their egos.
But they're here for their money. You don't buy a team for any reason other than to make money.
So I think having an active supporters trust that does actually get listened to, but within moderation by Enoch is we're like, I'm perfectly fine with the arrangement of they're a little too radical, but they make their voices heard. And generally speaking, if they express displeasure, they never do it in moderation, but at least they're not expressing displeasure at a time when the rest of us are like, hey, things are great. You know, so like, I guess I prefer to have them as they are, generally speaking, maybe just like be a little more polite sometimes, but yeah,
it's overreactive displeasure. Your point's well taken, Brian. Right?
I'm just honestly, like, I understand where they're coming from. There's supposed to be an arm of the fan base that it kind of advises the club on issues of ticketing, fan interaction, and you know, game day travel, that kind of stuff, arranging away days, that kind of stuff. They're supposed to be that's what their job is. But the idea that they think that they can just come in and say, we're going to get answers, you know, and the fact that they think that they're going to affect change by saying we're going to hold them accountable, like, that's not going to happen.
You're going to give up your seats because somebody else will take them.
Exactly. That's not going to happen. And on top of that, like, the other side of that is also completely true, because I think it was a little cocky and a little talk about ego, you know, egomaniacal. Like, the club didn't answer their question. They had some questions. They had some basic questions that they asked, and the club was kind of cocky about it. And it kind of like the club had the attitude that I have right now. It's like, who the fuck are you? You know? That's kind of how they answered it, right? That's kind like they kind of answered it like, who the fuck are you? Come on, like, we're billionaires. You're a bunch of, you know, like a board of like 10 people, plus, you know, your $10 a year subscribers. Don't tell me that the supporters trust isn't making money off of this, because they are. They have so many supporters, and they, at their $10 or $20 a year, whatever initiation fee that they have, they're still making money. But the point is that, like, the supporters trust got this false sense of who they are and what their mission is. You don't see other supporters trusts. I mean, maybe outside of Everton, who was terribly mismanaged, and Brian already talked about it, but you don't see other supporters trusts acting this way, saying we're getting answers, you know, like,
tell us your transfer policy. We want to know.
Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Shut up and bitch about the transfers when they happen. You know, like I bitch about the Boston Red Sox, you know, and I don't understand where Chaim Bloom is going right now, having an entire team of utility players. I don't understand how that works. You know, I bitch about my Red Sox in that way, but I know that in a few years, Red Sox will probably be just fine. You know, they'll get a bunch of big name players and for lots of money, but players cost money. Moves cost money. Even talking to players for transfers costs money. Everything costs money. Cleaning the toilets at the stadium costs money. And fans don't want to hear this, right?
I will say I did not know about half of the quote unquote achievements of the supporters trust that they list on their website.
Let's hear them. What do you got?
I mean, like ran the Stop StubHub campaign, ultimately resulting in the ticket exchange being taken back in-house by Tottenham Hotspur for the 2017-2018 season.
So ticket prices. Okay, tickets. We'll give you that.
Secondary market. Ticket prices.
Secured the introduction of a young adult category of tickets for 18 to 21-year-olds starting in 2018.
Tickets.
That's a good
match going fan still. Okay.
Also true. Competitive pricing of food and beverage in the new stadium. Okay, match going
fan.
But still, okay, I'll stop there.
Yeah, stay in your lane, right? Like to Mike's point,
yeah.
that's their lane. Stay in your lane. Quit acting like you're entitled to more, because you're no more entitled than I am to more information. And even though Mike and Steve think that I'm tight with Dan and Joe, they don't tell me everything, so nobody else should get to know it either.
Yeah,
their boat is very nice, though.
It's a nice boat. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. Oh, hey, they were way out in front on the Super League, and that affects all of us. So they got that going for them. Those protests that like in person and around the world, organizing those in consultation with the other supporters trust like that. I'll give you that one. I think it was never going to go anywhere anyway, because even people who are not members of the supporters trust were kind of like, are you fucking kidding me? But
Americans were like that, and we love that kind of shit.
No, I mean, again, the Saw Gerrera thing. You need like the tip of the spear. You need the real out there folks to make their case vehemently, and I think they did a good job with that. I'll give them that one. But I didn't think we'd get into supporters trust politics here tonight, fellas.
Love it, actually. This has been fantastic.
This is good.
That was a hot button topic on the WhatsApp.
Here's the thing, out of deference to Steve, because I know he has another podcast commitment that comes up about 7:30 usually. Let's
put my kid to bed, right?
Exactly. let's shift to closing thoughts.
Samuel Jackson reading "Go to fucking sleep."
There are snakes on this plane. So Steve, what kind of closing thoughts you have? We'll let you go first in case you gotta scoot.
Look, you got clubs like Man City being investigated for financial issues. And what do Spurs have? We're delivering fucking Beyonce to the stadium for 3 nights of concert performances? I mean, talk about good financial practices. You've got multiple revenue streams. This club is being run in a sustainable, legitimate way that hopefully, and I really hope I don't come back to regret saying this, that hopefully is just completely clean. It's, we're absolved of any wrongdoings for financial matters. So when you're thinking about ENIC out, Levy out, just remember, you could have your dream, petrocapital cash infusion, and then you could get investigated and get, kicked in the nuts with a massive fine. So, or worse. So, grass always looks greener until it comes back to bite you. Just fucking enjoy some Beyonce and let the good times roll.
Ticket prices are too high. We need the trust to do something about that, right? For the Beyonce.
I don't think the supporters trust is gonna fucking touch Beyonce.
No, all right. She's part of the Illuminati. It's not.
She is.
She
Brian,
is the Illuminati.
She is. She controls it all. Brian, how about you, man? Closing thoughts.
Well, I'm particularly keenly interested in the Leicester City match because, as you guys might recall, I think it was the last time I was on the pod, I was recounting my experiences back in September at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, seeing the last Leicester City match. And so kind of, which you remember I believe it was 2-2 at halftime. Yep. And it was 6-2 Spurs at the end.
Yeah.
With Sonny having his 13-minute hat trick. So there's never going to be a time for the rest of the time when I watch a Spurs Leicester City match and I won't be brought back into that. Even though they're playing at the King Power, it doesn't matter. Leicester City is just going to be that thing for me, at least until I see Spurs live again in the future. So I am looking forward to it. I think if we achieve 75 to 85% of the form that we demonstrated against Man City, like that kind of real solid, coordinated, confident play. That if that is true, then Steve's prediction is probably the right one. What I would love to see from this club throughout the rest of the season is doing it consistently, doing it with squad rotation, doing it in a manner that like everybody stays healthy. If we do that, we're really still looking at top 4, maybe top 3. Like I really think that is possible. So I don't know. I feel overall, I even when things got a little bit dark there through the holiday season and into early January, I still have tried to step back and remind myself of like overall the club is in pretty decent position. I mean, hey, 3 nights of Beyonce pays for Pedro Porro right there. I'm sure the club is at least going to make 45 million euros for 3 nights of Beyonce. We should do some back of the napkin math on that one. But yeah, other than that, I think someday soon, I'm going to put it on the macro agenda for the next time we join about the thing that I'm really intrigued by. I would encourage everyone to read about has been how the insane splashing of money by Premier League teams, and not Spurs aren't totally exempted, but they are a little bit. I mean, like when you're in a situation where I think it was Bournemouth paid more in the transfer window than the Bundesliga did, we're in a weird spot. So that influence of money having the Premier League be kind of a that's the major leagues, and everybody else in Europe are functionally AAA and AA just purely monetarily. It's going to change the dynamics, and I'm interested in it, and I'm also interested in Spurs' role in that. Are we going to, again, we go back to this dynamic, one of our first ever conversations. Are we going to be a club that invests in youth and promising youth, or are we going to be a club that tries to buy our way into total dominance? So yeah, that I think is going to be an interesting ongoing conversation for us, and something for us to monitor. I think the spirit of the club is at stake. I want us to be a club that raises up great talent, and we have more people that we can say they're one of our own. So congrats to Mr. / Prince Harry of Kane on 267, and yeah, that's my closing thought.
Very good, well put, Brian. Mike, how about you?
I'm gonna kind of keep it short tonight. Lucas's team is getting beat 8-2 now.
Ooh,
ouch! Yeah,
Lucas needs to step up. Get that.
Well, he's 10 years. He's 10 years old. He's playing against kids with leg hair. So
maybe if he had a better dinner, he might have been able to.
I don't know. He was just happy with his peanut butter and apples. Anyway, I want to echo kind of like everything that Brian said about I'm no longer going to refer to him as Kerry Hayne or HK10 as our friend Wendy loves me saying, but he is possibly the best striker / soccer player that I've seen in my fandom of soccer. And he was part of that team that drew me into Spurs. So he was the leader on that team. He was the Golden Boot winner that year. Even though I didn't know what that was, when I first started watching Spurs. Obviously, there's Messi, and he'll never be equal in my estimation as the greatest player, ever. But for what it is worth, in my fandom, in the time that I've been a fan, Harry Kane has been the man at Tottenham Hotspur. He's Mr. Hotspur to me. I know, the old timers will say Glenn Huddle, and players like that. And, everybody's got their favorites, but like Harry Kane and his leadership is what drew me to a team like this. And it's very much like Tom Brady in football. He has times where he will go out there and he'll dominate games, and you can see the fire in his eyes when he does it. And the other day I got to see just absolute childlike joy in his eyes when he scored that goal, and he's looking up and looking around the stadium. I don't think Harry Kane's going anywhere now. I think that he saw what he meant to this fan base and what he means to fans around the world. And maybe the English don't see it as much because there's so many teams that people support in England. But fans around the world revere Harry Kane, and they know the name Harry Kane, and they know that he plays for Spurs. They don't know much about Spurs, but they do know the name Harry Kane, and they know that Harry Kane is one of the best in the world. And for my money, I'll take Harry Kane over Erling Haaland any day of the week right now. And I'd also like to give a shout out to one of my mentors in the operating room passed away, tragic ski accident this week. And I'm not trying to drag it down, but he had a tragic ski accident and passed away this week. And I just want to give a shout out to him and his family and just say what he meant to me is immeasurable in my career and in my life. Fantastic man, fantastic nurse, and just an all around great guy. And I'm going to miss him. So
I'm sorry, man. Your loss, man.
Yeah, sorry about that. What's his name?
Mark Williamson.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I just wanted to shout him out.
Absolutely.
Appropriately so.
Mike, just to piggyback on your comments about Harry Kane, what I love about Harry Kane the most, and we've had our words about Harry Kane, right? We've called him any number of things like you described. What I love about him is not his hold up play. It's not his I would call it deceptive speed, right? Like you see him find a gear that you didn't think that guy had. It's not his ability to maintain the ball in traffic. And call me a cheese ball for saying this, when he scores, the first thing he does is he kisses his wedding ring. And like, I've always been impressed by that. And this is not a judgment on whether someone's married or not married. That's not where I'm going, but it's he is committed to a relationship with someone, and it is forefront in his mind and like baked into him. Like, hey, I want to honor this person, in this moment where all the focus is on me. I think that's pretty damn cool. And I think it's cool when somebody will make a move like that publicly, because just imagine how his wife feels about that, how his kids will feel when they understand that down the road. Like that is freaking awesome. So that's what I love the most about Harry Kane.
That's a good one, Dave. I like that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that, Bri. You just bring out the soft side of me, normally Mike and I are just bantering back and forth talking smack, but
Dave, we all know Dave is being very prickly.
yeah, you know me.
Ornery and prickly.
I think the prickliest thing on this podcast is that fucking beard, Mike. That is
it's crazy. Isn't it? Look at this thing. It's wild. Like, I almost shaved it the other day, and then it was like 45 below zero. So I was like, I'm not shaving this thing.
I've said this, I could be on a desert island for 20 years and I wouldn't come close to what either of you have. It just is not in the genetic cards for me.
Dave's beard is phenomenal. Mine is just out of control. It's gotta.
I'll tell you what. When I first met Mike, my beard was not this gray. You do the math on that. All right, boys. Hey, this has been a blast as always. And to Steve, who had to take off, appreciate you, Steve, Mike, and Brian. Appreciate you guys. Love you both. And go ahead, Brian.
What would Steve say if he were on his way?
I was going to just ask you that, Brian. What would Steve say right now?
I think it would be something to the effect of "Stay safe and don't be an asshole."
You got it right there. And Mike, how about you? What would you say?
Mine is be safe.
Sorry,
Brian. That's okay. Brian signed me off. That's great. And just remember, everyone out there, that soccer's just a game, and don't let it rule your life. Don't let it ruin your week, but definitely let it, give your week a little joy and give your day a little joy. And when it comes.
So you're saying I shouldn't let it, I feel better about my entire life when Spurs win, and I feel worse about it when Spurs lose. You're saying that's less advisable.
I'm still on a high right now, so
well put, Mike.
Yeah.
And guys, we got to wrap this up, and we got to go because the supporters trust meeting starts in 2 minutes, and we need to hop onto that one real quick. So of course.